Well, today we are going to talk about the four-way valve. In a refrigeration circuit like this, with its element, this would be the indoor unit, compressor, outdoor unit, and expansion valve. How does the refrigerant circulate around here? Well, after leaving the compressor, once compressed, it goes towards the condenser. From the condenser, it goes towards the expansion valve. It expands in the evaporator, and we see that it can only circulate in one direction, in that counterclockwise direction that we are seeing. Evaporator always indoors, condenser always outdoors. Thus, this team always operates in cool mode without exception. Correct? What is required for the circuit to be operational in both cold and heat mode? Make it reversible. How will this be achieved? By inserting the four-way valve into the discharge of the compressor. This four-way valve redirects compressor discharge to where it needs to go for machine to operate in cooling or heating mode. This would be the way in which the indoor unit is the evaporator, cold mode, and the condenser would be working at high pressure. We can also do it the other way, which is what we intend for the circuit to work in heat mode, with the outdoor unit as an evaporator. How do you achieve this? Making the circuit bidirectional, it can rotate, as we have seen, counterclockwise or clockwise. Achieved by inserting, one of the ways in which it is achieved, by inserting two expansion valves. Before we only had one, now we have two. Why? Because when the circuit works in this direction, this will be the expansion valve that works, while this one will be bypassed by a check valve. The gas will not be able to flow through this valve, but it will work by going down through this other valve. When it works in reverse, this is the expansion valve that operates, while this one is bypassed by another valve. In cold mode, the indoor unit is the evaporator, and the expansion valve that works is this one. When the gas expands, it goes through the expansion valve, then passes through the indoor unit operating in evaporator mode. From here, it will flow to the four-way valve, which will redirect it to the compressor suction. The compressor will then discharge it towards the condenser, completing the cycle of the refrigeration system. This process ensures efficient cooling and proper functioning of the air conditioning unit. This is the cold mode. It's similar to the previous one, but we must consider that this four-way valve, visible as a roundabout, has redirected the gas from the evaporator to the compressor suction, obviously taking into account the necessary adjustments. And what the compressor discharges has been directed towards the condenser. How would it be the other way around, in heat mode? And ultimately, naturally, this expansion valve fails to function, and all the liquid that emerges from here will flow through this check valve and go back to the expansion valve that is operational. This expansion valve is not functioning properly. This would be the summary containing all the components and explaining the operation of the four-way valve. The four-way valve, now we will see that the only thing it does is change two directions. Through this slider that you see here inside, it will move from this position to a position further to the left. To stop the video, analyze it and observe how it works in heat mode. In heating mode, this will be the working valve, the working space valve, as the indoor unit is the condenser, while the outdoor unit is the evaporator. When we pass through the evaporator, after the expansion valve, where do the gases that come out after the evaporator ultimately go, and what is their destination? To the compressor intake, where they have to go. And where do the compressed gases from the compressor go? Where do we desire heat? To the indoor unit that is functioning as a condenser. Following this condenser, the gases will not pass through the expansion valve in any way. It is not operational, but it will pass through this check valve and subsequently return to the expansion valve. This would be the second mode of operation. You analyze the video. And here you have how the two circuits would look like when we are working in both cold mode and heat mode. We observe that the valve has made a change to the internal slider, shifting it from a right position to a left position. A tip to remember is that when you grasp the expansion valve and observe it resembling a fork, the handle of the fork will consistently indicate the compressor discharge, while the central tooth will indicate the compressor suction. That never changes. What does the slider do? Make the outdoor unit work in evaporator mode and the indoor unit in condenser mode, or vice versa. It is not that I am spinning, but it is something similar to changing direction. Very well, see you in the next video.